Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wander to the Edge. My name is Adam Asher from The Edge of Adventure.
I'm Zan from Where Gals Wander.
Zan, great to see you. I'm really excited about today because we're not talking about me this time.
No, we're going to talk about barbarians. The barbarians are here.
Yes, we have so many great friends. You guys know this. We have lots of people who travel the world that come on the show to tell their story. So we're looking forward to getting to know some people today who do just that, have a great story. They've traveled the world, and we'll dig into their unique story today. But again, a special welcome to everybody, and just really thankful to have the tribe tuning in. Happy Saturday, everybody.
Yes. So today we have Ellie and Stefan, and they are from Berkeley Square Barbarians. And we're going to talk with them a little bit more about how they became explorers who became settlers, and anxious to learn a little bit about that story and also find out what's up with the gorilla.
They are social media legends, and
Yep.
they're here today on our favorite program.
Right here on Wander to the Edge.
Hey Zan, hey Adam, thanks so much for having us.
Hey guys.
Great to have you on the show. It is going to be awesome to get to know you guys a bit more. You have an incredible Twitter account and Instagram account.
Thanks so much.
A great sense of travel, and also that wonderful chemistry between the two of you, which is always so awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So yeah, how did we travel or get into the spirit? That was the question, I think, Zan and Adam. Or
well, I don't know. We're just we're not really that good at this, and we didn't really phrase it as a question, Stefan. I mean, I wish we had. It would have been better. But listen, no, just in all seriousness, it is awesome to have you on the show, and great to be able to share this moment with everybody. And yeah, so I'm going to actually yield to Zan and have her formulate that into a real question, because I know there's a couple that she wants to get to the bottom of pretty quick.
Yes. Well, I guess let's start just talking about the name. So the name of your social media account and your blog is Berkeley Square Barbarians. And your logo is this gorilla kind of figure.
Correct.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how that came to be. How did you choose the name? And maybe just introduce us a little bit about what your account is all about for people who don't know.
Well, I guess we are a London travel blog. We also do a fair bit about food and about art and culture. We called the blog Berkeley Square Barbarian after a sculpture on Berkeley Square, which happened to have been removed about 2 months after we named our blog. But it was sculpture of kind of I guess a monster-like man that we both thought was very very interesting, and we liked it. So we named the blog after it. We do happen to live fairly close to Berkeley Square, which is the central square of one of the parts of London, Mayfair. And that's how it came about. The coat hanger gorilla, that is kind of our unofficial logo, is a artwork from one of the Royal Academy of Art summer exhibitions. A gentleman called David Mach has created it. So he did a fair few sculptures with coat hangers, and we liked that just the same. We actually didn't get our hands on a good photo of the initial Barbarian, and once it had been moved away, it was gone.
Well, listen, the first thing that I noticed about this is how you say the name of the square with so much more class than I would. I would look at that and say Berkeley, but you're the correct.
That's the American pronunciation, isn't it? You've got quite a few geographic names that are pronounced like that. I think in London it's Berkeley, really.
Berkeley, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah.
So the English pronounce words that don't look the way they're spelled. So it's taken a while to get used to that. like Leicester Square is quite popular, but it's actually spelled Leicester. So I think it's just an English or British way of pronouncing certain words.
Exactly.
So, let's also get into that a little bit here, because neither of you are from London, right? Let's put that into context for us. Wait, Ellie is from where, and Stefan, you're originally from where?
So I was born in Korea, so in Seoul, and my family and I left Korea when I was quite young, and we moved, and we finally settled in Sydney in Australia. So, and I lived there for a good probably 20 years. I studied university, worked there, and then came to London in 2004. So London, I feel, is my home because I've been here for so long, but my family and a lot of my close friends are still in Sydney. So that's how I came to be in London.
Yeah. I'm initially from a small village near Munich in Bavaria in Germany. And been living in a number of places. I did a high school exchange with the US for half a year, and then I studied in Australia for a year. I lived in a number of German cities and a few other places, and then relocated at pretty much the same time, I think a year later than Ellie, to London. And now London is really our base, and we're intending to stay here for good.
So what prompted you to start a travel blog? Was it seeing the gorilla and saying, oh yes, it's suddenly come to me, we now need to travel the world? Or kind of share with us how that evolved?
Well, do you want to answer that one, Miriam?
Well, I guess because we're both expats and we both came to London. Well, I came to London with the view to travel, obviously, because I was from Sydney. And London is so close to the rest of the world, especially to Europe. It's just a, Ryanair flight away. And I'd often do weekend trips with my friends in Sydney and just, go to Italy for just the weekend. And the flights were very cheap at the time.
So we did a lot of travel.
Yeah, that's what And I think we just sort of, kind of solidified sort of our adventures and experiences and things like that. And I think Stefan thought it was a good idea to start a blog at the time.
I think initially my hope was that Ellie would take over and I just join her on the travels and let her do all the work. But it turned out that the blog is largely myself, I guess. And Ellie does a lot of the stuff on social media, Instagram especially, and helps out here and there.
It's actually quite technical, I think, to write a blog. There's the content and, the writing and the photography, but it's also quite technical. And I think WordPress really freaked me out on the technical side. So I think, blogging is quite a large, I would say, job. It's not just simply writing reviews and taking photos, but I think there's a lot of effort behind putting a blog. So I admire all the bloggers out there.
That's what I keep telling Zan. I keep telling her it's not as easy as it looks.
I just find that it never gets easier. Like there's always something else that you have to add or upgrades or trying to keep up with everything. It seems so simple in principle, but oh my gosh, it is rather time consuming, particularly on that tech side too.
Yes, I perfectly agree.
That's why I like the social media aspect of Instagram.
Exactly.
Which is
lots of pink things on the feed.
Yeah, a bit more easy.
Yes.
Well, you have to have a sense of adventure if you're going to undertake a blog of any kind, and certainly a travel blog. You have to have this sense of adventure. And I know from following you guys that there was a period of time, I guess, where Stefan, you weren't so sure Ellie was going to catch on to this, or maybe she liked it at first, or she didn't. Walk us through that story.
Talking about the blog now, or not so much about the travel?
Just
but the
in
blog?
general, yeah, just in general.
Well, I'm not sure how to answer the question. I guess it took a little bit of convincing at the beginning to get the ball rolling, and I think it didn't take too long, really, and especially after we started getting collaborations and doing some exciting stuff. I think Ellie was fully bought in pretty early on. And with regards to the traveling, I guess we both did like the traveling all the while. I think Ellie sometimes felt that I'm holding her back a little bit ever since we got married. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I like doing a lot of 2-week holidays. I think, traveling with my girlfriends at the time, and we did sort of extended holidays to Egypt and Turkey. And I think since Stefan and I guess, got together and got married, we haven't really been doing those types of holidays, mainly. I guess because we have to spend some time with our family as well.
Yes, and I guess we have busy lives and our day jobs, so we normally do relatively few trips that last more than 10 days or so, and a lot of weekend trips, quite a lot in the UK. But
Well, I may have misunderstood or misstated that then. So was this the birth of the blog and the travel adventure platform? Was that something that you guys started together, or did...
I did start it more on my own, I guess, with the intention of getting Ellie engaged. So you're perfectly right, Adam. I think you kind of already alluded to it a little bit, but Ellie is certainly...
well, friends of ours actually suggested that we should put...
I guess that is true as well, yeah. And the idea was that you do have an opinion. My wife does have an opinion.
Write reviews on TripAdvisor and things. And
exactly, so it kind of...
share photographs,
seemed like a natural thing to do. But yeah, it is true. It probably took about a year or so until you kind of fully bought in. But then it really developed quite quickly. We did a lot of nice trips together, partially due to us having the blog. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have done a good few of those things. So yeah, it took about a year or so to get you on board, and maybe another 6 months or so until I realized I was going to write most of the blog posts. And since then, I think we're pretty much on the same boat.
I'd love to hear the story about how each of you found this spirit of adventure, because you had that even before you met. And maybe, Ellie, let's start with you, perhaps. How did your love for travel and adventure first begin?
Well, as I said, growing up in Australia is quite isolated from the rest of the world. So I took I guess it's a gap year soon after I finished uni and had my first job, and I went to Korea for a year. And from there, I traveled to Beijing for the first time and saw the Great Wall of China and all the palaces in Beijing. And it was just so amazing to see everything as I'd seen on the news and on television. So I guess that was like the first real experience of something more than just my sort of immediate surrounding. And I think I always wanted to see what the rest of the world was like. I used to write letters to pen pals and things when I was quite young. And that was, I have to say, before the computer, before email, really, actually. So it was like pen and paper, writing letters to people in Sweden, to people in America, England, sending photographs and just, understanding what their lives were like, and then, corresponding and becoming friends with people on the other side of the world. That was always something that was quite curious to me. And, I think it was always exciting to think that I could explore what the rest of the world was like and to meet people and to have a connection with them. I did get to meet a couple of my pen pals from when I was young.
That's actually quite sweet.
Oh, how cool is that? That's awesome.
So, I mean, the world is actually quite small in some ways. And that was quite nice to connect and see and experience different things, understand history a bit more, that kind of stuff. So,
it's a really essential part of our lives, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess I agree with Ellie. Like, even though I love Sydney and I love Australia, it does feel very far away from everything. And we're normally quite happy, to go somewhere else again after 2 weeks or so.
I mean, life happens everywhere in the world, and so I just think it's great to know that someone on the other side of the world is sort of experiencing.
Yes, I guess,
and exploring, and
I guess that's how it started, exactly. I guess I'm heavily, how do you say, like I came with a big burden of being addicted to travel that runs in my family. So most of my close relatives, including my parents and my grandparents on either side, traveled a lot. My grandfather cycled from Bavaria to Sicily on his bicycle. And my dad did the same about 40 years later. So I guess at some stage I have to do that. And
Did you say on his bicycle?
yes, yep, on a bicycle all the way from Bavaria to Sicily. I forgot how far it is, but I think it was like 1,400 kilometers or so, quite a distance.
Wow.
And back then it would have been even more of an adventure because the streets would have been a lot more difficult to ride, I guess. And the bicycle wouldn't have been as modern. But yeah, so and they, I guess my parents always took us on long trips. Like in summer, we typically traveled around in our caravan, like kind of a mobile home dash trailer. And often 4 weeks in a row or so. I think in America it's very different, isn't it? But you have 2 or 3 weeks holiday. In Germany, it's like on average, I don't even know, like with national holidays and everything, it just adds up to be what feels like 3 months every year or so. And so yeah, there were a lot of holidays, and we went skiing in winter. And so I think it kind of runs in the family, and I'm trying to keep up the tradition. I've also got a few relatives that are into adventure sports. I guess my father does whitewater kayaking still, even though he's in his 80s. And we went skiing with him and my mom last February. And I've got an uncle that started paragliding when he was in his 60s. And yeah, so it's kind of running in the family.
All right, so now I need to ask you about this picture here. Now, it's kind of small there, but what is the significance of this picture?
It was the second best.
So that's the sculpture that was at the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition, which takes place every year, and it was really quite amazing. It's made of coat hangers. So
pressed coat hangers, and it's gives the whole thing a bit of a blurry look, as if it were animated and not.
Okay, really, I thought that was because I needed my glasses.
No.
Yeah, it was a really amazing effect. Like we enjoy all the art by David Mach, and so we thought it was the second best thing that looked a little bit like a barbarian, and that was a sculpture. And with us not being able to get our hands on a good photo of the the sculpture that had actually inspired the naming of our blog, that's what we ended up with.
We have a lot of great travel pictures, of course. One of the great things about following you on social media is you're really going to get the sense of adventure and the places that you've been and the places that you get to go. And I'm going to be scrolling through here. I collected a few photos, and I will share them with the folks at home. So should I ask about the Land of Thunder Dragon?
That was probably our best trip so far. Do you want to?
So that was in Bhutan.
Yes,
just before COVID hit, which was last year.
In March, really, the first week of March, just for a week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe say how we got to do it and what we did in a few words.
So a friend of ours, who's also a blogger, wasn't able to go to Bhutan and asked if we were free.
She was blocked with another trip.
She was busy during the dates, and so we happened to be free, so we said yes. So we we're sponsored to go to Bhutan. It was about 2 weeks.
No, it was 1 week.
Was it 1 week? Yeah, we did a short stop over in Kathmandu on the way there and back. But Bhutan is just quite amazing. Nothing has really changed. It's not a modernized country. One of the issues we had initially was trying to take out cash from the ATM, which I think because we couldn't use our credit ATM cards. But I mean, it's just the people are so friendly, so happy. That's the land of happiness is the national logo, and it's so clean. And we like the food. It was all very healthy. But
nature's beautiful.
Nature's so beautiful.
I mean, it's the Himalaya.
Yes.
And it's just an amazing landscape. And yeah, we'd go back any day, really.
Definitely. There's so much to see there. We only saw a small part of it. But it was just amazing to see. Time hasn't really moved on. It's quite a pristine place in history that's sort of still,
It feels very remote and far away from everything. And I mean, they really still very much live in their traditions. So we attended a festival, and in a lot of countries, I guess those festivals are they feel like they're mainly being done for the tourists and the travelers, so that everybody can take a few shots. Whereas the Punakha festival that we visited, I think there were maybe 15 other white people and maybe a few more other tourists. So Western people, not white people, sorry, Western tourists. So it felt very authentic, and it was a great experience, really. A beautiful country.
What is the significance of the name that they use, the land of the dragon and such?
Thunder
Dragon. Thank you.
Yeah. I think the story goes back a lot longer, but the Thunder Dragon historically plays, or mythologically plays, a big role. So I remember a number of stories. One of them, for example, is the one associated with Tiger's Nest, the beautiful monastery, which is probably the one picture that everybody has in mind, who's got a picture in mind for Bhutan. It clings to a cliff wall above 3,000 meters, not far from the capital. And that monastery is supposed to have been founded by the kind of father of Bhutanese Buddhism, who traveled to the place where he set up the monastery on the back of a thunder dragon. So yeah, the dragons are pretty much everywhere, aren't they? So it's very much part of their mythology and their national pride.
Very cool.
Do you guys have a favorite part of the world that you've traveled to? You might both agree on it, you might not agree, but favorite region where you just find yourself most at home?
Well, I'd have to say the region around Bhutan, Nepal, really has quite a bit of fascination for us. There's a lot of places we haven't been to. So personally, I would really love to visit Latin America, for example, and see more of Africa. But yeah, I would say
the mountains,
the Himalayan mountains, and the region around Nepal, Bhutan, maybe also Central Asia, where we've not yet been, certainly has a lot of fascination for us.
Yes, there's so much to see and a lot of places to visit. But I mean, Bhutan is quite remote, and I think, being so high up in the mountains, I mean, it's quite high, isn't it? I think.
Well, I mean, it's 7,500 meters or so. But so it goes up pretty high. I think the highest we ever went was 3,500, 3,600 meters maybe. So not that extremely high. But yeah, that's certainly a region we like a lot. We do like traveling around Europe a lot.
Yes.
We do have a map on our blog that shows where we've been, and Europe is a little bit of a mess because there's a lot of little pins stuck into the different regions. But yeah, I think we're planning on mainly traveling in Europe, really, and just do maybe one big trip, 2 big trips, maybe 3 or 4 big trips a year.
Is there anything that you have as like a must do when you go on these different trips? I've noticed a big theme in some of your pictures around kayaking and being on the river and such. Is there something that when you're going there, you're saying to each other, okay, we need to check this out? Like, let's find out where we can do X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I mean, we both like cultural events, and so it could be anything from like an art exhibition to like a music festival or a sporting event or something.
But also do stuff ourselves.
Yeah, and do stuff ourselves. We went in Portugal. We went caving in Portugal, and that was
canyoning.
canyoning, and that was something I hadn't really thought about doing, but I thought, yeah, sure, and that was like quite an exciting experience.
Yes.
And abseiling in Porto.
Yes.
Yeah.
It involved a few different bits like zip lining.
Yeah.
Yep. And Ellie is actually often by far more fearless. I actually suffer from fear of heights, quite a severe fear of heights. So
doesn't look like it here.
I was just gonna say, I just saw a skydiving photo.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, you can't really not do it once you kind of clicked into that tandem gear and everything. So if I would have had the chance to not jump, then I would not have jumped, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so I think in many ways, Ellie finds it easier to do other stuff involving heights. And yeah, I think we both enjoy outdoor activities. We do a lot of hiking. We actually don't blog about most of those activities, such as hiking. Whenever we do something a bit more unusual, like canyoning or caving, then we do tend to blog about it. But yeah, I think we sometimes go on 6 hikes a month or so. Sometimes there were long weekends and we did 3 or 4 hikes. So we do like our hiking and yeah, being out in nature.
Well, look, not to get mushy or anything, but you guys are from very different parts of the world, and walk us through meeting each other and maybe sort of how you guys met. And
are we to the love story part?
I was trying not to get too mushy, but let's go ahead, because I'm looking at these pictures here, and anybody that look, there's this chemistry between them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sense the love that they have. And
Ellie's no expert for mushiness, so you guys.
So we met online. We met online, and we both
we like art. And
we were both the first people to email each other. So
yes, that's true, actually. Yeah. So we
hadn't really met anyone else on this online platform, and Stefan was the first person I emailed, and same with Stefan.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So that's how we met, and then we met outside the Tate Modern, because we both like art, and it's a nice place to walk along the South Bank in London. And it was a very unusual exhibition because it was just very modern art, but it's just something to talk about and just laugh about.
Okay, I'm going to make you pause right there because you both laughed. So you have to tell us, when you say it's an unusual exhibition, what exactly are we talking about?
I think the artist is called Cy Twombly, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I pronounced it right, but it does look a little bit like it's an acquired taste. So a lot of weird lines and a lot of color. So yeah, I think it was a little bit like you wanted to bail out and not actually go there, but I had already purchased the tickets, so I insisted on our first date we would make use of the tickets. And you did insist that you don't like the exhibition, but in the end we got along quite well, and so that panned out just fine. And yeah, so we.
Ellie, set the record straight. I mean, obviously you loved this. This was a great exhibit. And he thinks it wasn't that great, right?
I'm actually the one who liked it, isn't it?
No, you're the one that liked it. Ellie, yes. Okay, then Ellie needs to say, what about it was just over the line, where you're like, I just can't do this?
You just thought it was too weird, right?
I just thought it was too abstract.
Too abstract, exactly, yeah.
Sort of lines. I couldn't really see anything, sort of like drawing me into the painting or anything like that. It was hard to see. It was just sort of lines to me. But I mean, it's modern art, so I guess
And then I guess we took it from there quite quickly, and I proposed to you 3 months after our first date, and another 3 months later we got married. So yeah, we didn't waste any time. So
I guess we're both from different parts of the world, but I think we're both very similar aged, and our parents are similar aged as well. And Stefan has one sister, younger sister, and I have an older brother. So I guess we're both sort of like from small families.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's quite funny because when I mention like a television program or something, or a piece of music that I really liked when I was growing up, Stefan also liked the same piece of music because he was listening to it in Germany. So it's like, we're from different parts of the world, but we have similar, I guess,
interests. And
interests,
that's
that's what made us, So I don't speak German, and Stefan doesn't speak Korean. So I mean, English is
Yes,
And
exactly.
both our parents are fine speaking English as well.
Yes, exactly.
So that's important too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Tell us a story about the proposal. That's always my favorite part.
Well, it's for you.
Well, it was in Canterbury, which is a lovely sort of, is it a town outside?
Yes, I mean cathedral town.
Cathedral.
And, yeah, the head of the Church of England is the
Yeah.
Archbishop of Canterbury.
So, and it was just supposed to be for lunch, and then Stefan said, "Look into the sky," and there was a big plane, which said, "Will you marry me?"
That's what it was, exactly.
And I was just too busy running after the plane because I wanted to take a photograph of it. I was sort of reading what it said. I was like, "Oh, let's take a photo." And then about half an hour to 60 minutes later,
you made up your mind.
I made up my mind.
Exactly. So that was very fortunate.
It happened quite quickly, but I think, yeah.
It was also a time I had just lost my job and I was relocating to Germany. So yeah, I think it was the day after I proposed that I relocated to Germany for a year. And then when we got married in Denmark, it was a case where we each flew in from our respective cities, Ellie from London and I from Frankfurt, where I was staying at the time. And we just kind of did that wedding and then flew back again because, you know, we were quite busy at the time. So yeah, it was...
So you said Ellie delayed. Did she wait until you got a new job to say yes?
Well, in all honesty, I did have the job at the time. Otherwise, I couldn't have flown out the next day. But no, I guess...
Yeah. It was all during the financial crisis.
I'm more interested. So you said that you were living apart in different countries.
Yes, for about a year.
Flew in together to get married.
Yes.
And then immediately flew back to your separate countries.
Rushed to the airport. That's how tight it was. I was in my probationary period. And I think Ellie had something big going on as well. So yeah, we literally just, you know, took receipt of the papers, hopped on a train to the airport, and then just enough time to check in, and off we went again.
And we got married in Farburg, which is the Las Vegas of Europe.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes. So it was easier for us because with our, I guess, different backgrounds and everything, we didn't both have you know, all the required documents and everything. So yeah. Yeah, that all worked out really well. But in hindsight, it would have been nice to spend a little bit more time and maybe have a nice lunch or a dinner. Or, but yeah.
But we have fond memories of Denmark. And then we had a church wedding for our family 6 months later in June, or 3 months later in June.
Yeah, with your parents.
With my parents, exactly, and they flew to Germany. So that was, that was nice.
And you live together today?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and you are joining us from London.
From London, central London, exactly. So it's not directly on Berkeley Square, but fairly close.
Well, you've also, you know, talked about this this sense of being restless expats turned settlers.
Yes,
and yet you're still traveling, of course, you know, the year we've had, and we all understand some of the limitations there. But did you settle? I mean, are you settling down? Are you explain that, because that's a theme that's prominent on your blog and social media. I think it's the bottom of it. Have you settled? Are you really settling down?
I think so, but then there are some times when I have itchy feet, and I think Stefan has itchy feet as well. And I always think, it would be quite nice to live maybe in Europe. We thought about Germany. I'd love to live in France maybe, and maybe even Sydney for about a year. Yeah, I mean, I think we can both, we both consider living abroad again for up to a year, maybe even a little bit longer, depending on the location. But it's good to kind of have your base. And I think we both feel that London is our hometown now, and which is where we want to stay. And I think we both enjoy, and correct me, but we both enjoy not doing too much long distance traveling because it is a little bit tiring. And we enjoy doing a lot of stuff in the UK, a fair bit in Scotland, Lake District, Peak District, Wales. And we don't do that much overseas anymore. Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
let's go to your blog real quick because you brought this up, so I went and found it.
Yes.
And when you say you've been to a couple of places in Europe, people, please look at the pins.
Yes, I guess we've done a few places over the years. This is Ellie and me combined, but I think we really did most of it together. So it's really only a few pins where only Ellie went, but nearly all of it is stuff that we did together.
Is there a map under all that red dot?
I'm looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a lot of other regions look very empty. Like neither of us have done Latin America, for example. We've not done much in Africa.
in Poland as well.
Yeah, even Poland we haven't done yet. So quite a bit in Europe as well. Quite a few other European countries too. But yeah, I mean,
it's always nice going back to places that we've visited before and then seeing it again.
That's another thing as well. Yes,
we like doing that a lot.
Like places like Venice or Vienna, we've been to maybe 8 times, 9 times. Places like Rome, Paris. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's when travel restrictions are lifted, hopefully we get to visit Europe again a bit more.
Yeah.
But
so
I mean,
I think we both feel that we have settled in London, but yeah, we won't give up traveling completely, and we do enjoy travel, but it's nice to feel like you're at home somewhere and not to have to travel all the time. Like right after we met, for the first maybe 3 years or so, we were traveling internationally 3 times a month, sometimes, rarely less than twice a month. It was the time of those cheap international flights. I'm not sure if you guys had that in America as well, but here in Europe, it was common to get return flights for $9.99 or $19.99. As a matter of fact, I think we hardly ever paid more than £30 whenever we traveled overseas. So yeah, it was extremely cheap, and we took full advantage of it, really. And now we may be traveling overseas 4 times a year, 6 times a year, depends on. And I travel a lot for work, of course. I don't count that, but I work abroad a lot. But yeah, privately maybe 4 to 6 times or so, right?
Yeah. But I look forward to sort of exploring more of the UK this year, because obviously, it's a lot. Because of the restrictions, we can't really travel abroad. But I mean,
it's difficult anyway.
Yeah, there's so much to see, and I think it'll be quite. I look forward to doing all that, and then planning trips, weekends, and things like that, and within the UK and
true.
Wales and Scotland and Ireland. So that's something to look forward to.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
As we start to wrap up our conversation, I'm curious, is there something about sort of the two of you or your blog or your adventures that you think would be a surprise to people? Like something that they may not have ever guessed about you before?
Well, I mean, you've got a diving license, right? So you're quite serious about it. I think Ellie was even the one in her group of friends that organized the PADI course. So it was a few friends of yours that first trained in swimming pools in London and then went to, was it Egypt?
No, we did Tenerife.
Oh, was it Tenerife?
Yeah,
I didn't remember.
So open water diving. But that seems like a long time ago. But I did get my PADI certificate.
Exactly, what do I mean? I guess I've worked in Papua New Guinea. I've basically worked there only for 1 month, but that is maybe something that is unusual to some extent. It was right after uni, and I really enjoyed the time. It's quite another exciting country, maybe in some ways exotic, like we felt Bhutan was exotic. And I got to travel to all the major islands there together with my boss, attending development conferences and doing some project work. So it was a beautiful 4 weeks. I think I nearly witnessed a military coup that in the end did not actually take place. But it was exciting times and good fun.
So that comment kind of came out of nowhere. That it was a work trip. I was there with my boss. We almost saw a military coup, and then I came home.
Sounds like a movie. Well, yes. Then, so as we introduce you, I mean, so many people already know you, and that's half the fun, is getting to see the faces and hear the stories behind the social media platforms, right? That's part of why we do this, is that's a lot of fun. But if someone hasn't been following you and maybe they're not familiar with your blog, we'll close the show then with you guys making an invitation. What are they going to find when they go to your blog? What's your unique spin? And I have a couple of thoughts of my own, but I want to hear you guys make the pitch. What's the blog all about?
Well, I guess a good part of it is us writing about what we're doing, and we try to do fun things. So we don't try to do, the 10 things you must see here or the 5 things to do there. We kind of got away from that quite early on. So it's, in a way, I guess, personal. And it's quite a mix. We do a lot about food, for example, and not just travel. Even when we do travel, we write a fair bit about the food that we've had and the restaurants we visited. We're into art, so there's a fair bit of art and cultural stuff. And yes, it's kind of a weird mix, but we like it.
And experiences and activities, ideas of things to do.
A lot of activities lately, exactly, because I really was suffering during the 3rd lockdown. So I just had to get it out of my system and do a fair bit of activities. But I guess it's not really what we normally do. We do hiking, and every now and then we do something like caving. But we don't normally do that much, right?
Yeah, it's a mix of
exactly.
ideas and experiences. Yeah.
Well, you do. That comes across through the blog, is this love of experiencing different things, cultures, food, art. All that comes through. And one of the things that's also great is just to see that the love that you two have for each other. Don't ever forget how important that is to, what a wonderful thing that is, and how important it is to be able to share that through your adventures and your blogging. So congratulations on that. What a wonderful platform. It's great to spend some time with you today.
Thanks very much. Thank you for your time.
It was so nice to meet both of you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are awesome, and inviting everybody to check them out at Berkeley Square Barbarian, right? Hold on. I'm not looking. I don't have it right. Make sure I'm saying it right here. It is BerkeleySquareBarbarian.com. That's how Americans would look it up. BerkeleySquareBarbarian.com. And if you're in London, though, you would look it up how?
Berkeley Square Barbarian.
Okay, got it. Same website. We just say it different ways. All right.
Yes.
Not big of a deal. Thank you guys, and thanks everybody for joining us.
I really appreciate it.
Great. Bye.
Bye.
And make sure that you join us again next week here on Wander to the Edge.